In the late 1970s, author Stephen King, you've heard of him, right? He struggled with addiction and he felt unfulfilled and lost as a writer. He now found himself in a place where he felt lost and unmotivated. He barely recognized himself. That was until at one point in the 1980s when he decided to commit to a daily writing practice. He decided that he was going to write every single day, no matter how he felt. To this day, he credits this writing practice, this daily habit, as being the single most important thing that helped him not only overcome his addiction and his personal struggles, but also led to a resurgence in his career as a best-selling author. Even today, despite his success, he still continues his daily writing practice. Recently, I asked my community on YouTube, I put out a poll asking people what it is that they struggle with the most. What is the number one problem in their life that's causing them the most pain? And the number one option that came out above all the others is feeling lost and unmotivated, not knowing where the hell you're going in life. It turns out feeling lost is extremely common. At some point in life, you just lose your way. You feel lost, you feel like you're wandering through life, not really making any forward progress, not really generating any momentum. You start doubting your abilities, you start even doubting your value as a person. You don't know what you enjoy or what really excites you anymore. And panic can set in because you start wondering whether you're going to be stuck like this forever, whether you're ever actually going to find your way, or is this just the way life is now? Why do you feel like this? Why do we feel like this? Are you actually lost, or is it something else altogether? If you ask me, when we say we're lost, when you say you are lost, it's a good way of describing this feeling that you have. But I think it's something else. I don't think you're really lost at all. Have you ever walked in a hedge maze? You know those mazes where they've got hedges that are really tall? I haven't walked in one of those since I was a kid, but I do remember walking around them, and occasionally you'd sort of turn right and then you'd feel confident walking down this route for a bit, and then bam, you've got a dead end. And then after a while, I'd be walking around that hedge maze and I'd sort of lose my way completely and not even recognize where I'd been or where to go next. But I felt lost, not because I didn't think there was a destination, not because I didn't think there'd be an end. I was lost because I didn't know the next step to go. So when you say you feel lost, you know there's a place to get to, you just don't know how to get there. You actually lack clarity and confidence. So if we apply this to our lives, on some level, we know what better looks like. The problem is, you haven't broken it down enough into actionable steps that make sense. The gap between who we perceive ourselves to be now and who we want to be, our lives now and the way we want our lives to be, if that gap is far too great and we haven't found a bridge to that future yet, then that ideal version, that ideal vision of the future, our lives and ourselves, paralyzes us. And this is what it feels like to be lost. So what we need when we feel lost, what you need, is to feel some clarity and confidence in your next steps. So what I'd like you to do is to break down your life into three main sections. These three columns are health, relationships, wealth. It's pretty undeniable that if you made changes and improvements in these three areas overnight, your life would feel a lot better. Now I want you to slow down and I want you to feel into these three areas of your life, one at a time. What would the best possible future look like in these areas? What would be the best outcome you can imagine that's not so far-fetched that your subconscious just calls bullshit and self-sabotages you, but also is not too easy to attain where it doesn't motivate you to grow and change? I don't want you to let what society tells you is possible or what you should want to limit you here. I really want you to go inside and ask yourself, what do you fundamentally, what would look better for you in your life, no one else's? And I also want you to ask the question, why? So let's say, for example, you say you want to make a certain amount of money. Why? So it gives me more freedom. Why? So I could stop working for an asshole boss, for example. Okay, the more why you ask, the deeper you go, the more emotional you get and the more motivating it's likely to be. If you can't answer the question why, then your vision for one of these particular areas of life, it's not yours. It's a vision that you've been told you should want by society, by other people, etc. It's not something that comes from an authentic place within you. Once you have felt into these three areas of life and you have a rough idea as to what a better future would look like for you, now I want you, for each of the three, to pick 1 to 3 processes that if you engaged in them regularly, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a consistent basis, then you would undeniably make real progress towards that goal. For example, I want to improve my health. Over Christmas, I got really fat by my standards. Slowly got a dad bod. So I decided that I wanted to get down from 92 kilograms to 88 kilograms. But I didn't want to starve myself and I didn't want to hate the process either. But one thing I decided to do was say, look, I'm going to walk a certain amount of steps per day. And I realized that the holy grail is to walk 10,000 steps per day. But for me, that felt a little bit too much. Go from like 2,000 to 10,000, it's a bit too much of a big step. So I decided to say 6,000 steps, never less than that. I can go over that obviously, but no less than 6,000. It's perfect for me. It allowed me to get out of a bit of a funk. And also, I had a reason. I answered a why as to why walking would improve my life that was very personal to me. I knew that it would improve my mental health. I knew that it would give me better creative ideas for videos and content and even business ideas. Entrepreneurially, it would benefit me. And those are reasons very personal to me. Another example might be in your relationships, checking in with a friend, just saying hi every single day. Or if you're wanting to meet new people, just getting used to being more socially open, saying hello to someone, hey, how are you, to the cashier, that kind of thing. An example for wealth might be finding a high value skill in society, such as copywriting or UX design, committing to learning about that thing 10 minutes every single day. So if we refer back to Stephen King's example, this becomes a daily practice, where if you did this thing every single day, you will make progress towards that vision that you earlier thought about and really fell into, undeniably. Getting into a state of flow is often associated with activities like running or rock climbing, where the activity is just a little more challenging than you're used to, but it's not too boring that it kind of demotivates you. It's like this sweet spot in between. But that doesn't just apply to rock climbing or activities that you actually partake in the moment. This applies to grander aims and visions and activities in your life. When choosing a process, you will find an inflection point where the activity is not so challenging that it feels daunting and paralyzing, but it's also a little bit beyond your comfort zone to the point where it motivates you. Feeling lost can really suck. It can be a really difficult time. And that's made worse when you don't have a positive relationship with yourself. You don't accept yourself. Your inner critic is just piping up and it's bludgeoning you with self-hating statements. So watch this video next to learn how I turned around my life and make some real solid changes purely through changing my relationship with myself. So I want you to check that video out next. I also tell you how to do the same. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Peace.